Never heard of him.
This is Rare Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel. Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to this edition of the panel on Rare Media here on Rare Media TV. And indeed, all the information is on the strip line across the bottom of the screen, how to email us and get in contact with us. And press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. Good evening, Mary.
Hi.
Good evening, Tony, and welcome.
Good evening, Joe.
Now, we'd like to, this is the final program of 2024, and I'm sure you'll be glad to see the end of us. Anyway, we appreciate all the people who took the time to watch the programs, and you really have give us a lift here on their media. On tonight's show, we'll be looking at some of our own personal highlights of the year, both locally and internationally, what we felt made an impression on us as well, whether they're sad or positive. It's up to yourself what you want to do. So, by way of introduction, I suppose there's a few things happened in the country during the year. It became less safe, not alone for women, but it became less safe for many of our citizens in this republic, certainly anyway on the streets. I'm thinking back to a couple of weeks ago, and everybody will have their own take on what they think of. When a 36-year-old homeless woman, a lady by all accounts, was kicked to death in broad daylight outside in the Grand Parade, outside the old cinema in the Grand Parade. It's closed on the cinema. And she was kicked to death. I mean, when I read the story, I was just astounded. I saw many violent acts in my travels during my own lifetime, but this really, really and truly takes the biscuit. And it did not get the attention that it should have. But it's just another mindless, senseless, violent act, you know? And it should not be tolerated. I thought it was very disturbing that a few human beings, younger people, would resort to this. And she died 2 days later in hospital.
Miss Fortune died. She died while she was in a queue waiting to try and get food in one at one of those hostels. And she was they were giving out food to the homeless, and they kicked the Miss Fortune to death. I mean, it's just it just beggars belief. I just can't believe that somebody would do that to anyone, let alone a woman. And to look at her, she was a frail woman. You know, she wasn't probably around the same size as me. She was short, and she certainly looked like it. But you know, God, it didn't take much to kill her.
Yeah, very sad, very sad.
You
And
know.
there was little outrage about it, and I think we're becoming immune to it, which is frightening itself as well, you know. But we have an awful lot of assaults on young men and young women. Every single weekend you hear of another one. There was one up in Mullingar during the week as well, where a man was beaten up um, because he went to save a woman from some people who ran out of a barber shop in Mullingar and attacked her, and he went to her assistance, and he's in a coma, I think, at the moment, and just a mindless act of violence again. I don't know what to say, lads. It's just very, very poor, very bad, you know. Then I suppose the recent news then we heard during the week is that Israel has decided to close its embassy in Ireland. Now, that came as a shock, I suppose, to some people who haven't their eyes and ears opened, but it certainly didn't come as a shock to me. You know, I was having met the Israeli ambassador Dan Ehrlich herself. We both met her, you know, and having close contacts with the tiny Jewish community in this country. About 1,800 people in all of the Jewish community who are living in Ireland. They feel completely under siege. They feel completely under pressure because of the vitriol they have to listen to every day on the newspaper, on the radio, and television, and in our Dáil as well. It's just no surprise to me that they've closed it down.
Well, it was a
And
surprise to me, I will admit. I actually got I got a shock, and you know, it was the only support really that the Jewish community, tiny as it is, 1,800, as you said, minuscule. You talk about minority groups. It's an absolute minority in this country, and the only support they had was there. And I mean, I was honored to have had my book launched at the ambassador's home at the time in 2000 and what was it, 2016, by Ambassador Zev Boker. But that was there. That was, if you like, a home, a refuge for that tiny community. It's gone now. And I do know there are people absolutely petrified out of their minds that
and sad to say, Mary, sorry for calling Russia, that there are people thinking of leaving the country completely, you know. And there's a Jewish student recently was beaten up in UCD because he was Jewish, just because he was Jewish. And really,
I mean, I'd say the same about any minority group. I mean, we need to protect people in this country, and we need to stop alienating. We're a country that was recognized. We had our own troubles in the north. We found a way to have peace, to have a peace settlement that has so far, thank God, lasted. And we should have been playing a major role in the diplomacy of dialogue and the diplomacy of negotiations, not side taking and not alienating people who are already alienated. I don't understand why our ministers and our TDs didn't weren't able to just sit in the middle and be and sit at a table and negotiate peace between two, like we did in the north between
well,
and
the
Catholic.
good news that on that front at the moment, it's looking closer to a settlement of sorts in the Israeli Hamas war. It's looking that the negotiations are very positive and they are peace. But we wish all our Jewish sisters and brothers a happy Christmas and a safe one.
And we also wish, and I want to say, I wish the people of Syria peace.
Oh, absolutely.
Because what's going on in Syria has completely been forgotten in all of this. Nobody gives a damn about the Syrian people. And, you know, they're going through a transition now with a completely different government, and nobody's talking about them. It's as if
Well, history was made today in Dáil and in our own Dáil when they met for the first time after the general election, and they elected the first female Ceann Comhairle of Dáil. For those of you looking from abroad, it's the chairman of the Dáil, Ceann Comhairle, but it has an administrative and it has a legal role as well in the running of Dáil. Verona Murphy, TD from Wexford, is our new Ceann Comhairle for the
she's
next.
independent, isn't she?
She's an independent. She was
Which is
originally.
the way it should be.
She was originally a member of Fine Gael. She got the Fine Gael nomination to run in the general election, but then she had the temerity to speak her mind or opinion on the whole, what I call it, the whole people, illegal immigration. And Fine Gael deselected her because they didn't like what she said. But nevertheless, she ran as an independent and won a seat. And Fine Gael have no seat there now. So there you go. Leo Varadkar was the leader of the party at the time, and they decided to sanction her for speaking her mind, for having an opinion, which is no surprise when you look at at Fine Gael's record anyway.
What was your highlight of the year, Tony?
I don't know. I couldn't think of any highlights I had. But talking to Verona Murphy, I was surprised actually she went for that. That job should be given to an independent person.
She is independent.
She's not. She's not. She's a line. She'd be a line now for the rest of her life. And she was a member of Fine Gael. That should be given to somebody there's no political connections. It's a waste. It's a waste of time sitting there in the Dáil. A complete waste. And just giving orders and standing orders and all that codology. That's all they've gone on for years. And they're re-elected in for the following year again. So
well, she's guaranteed. Yeah, she's guaranteed 9 or 10 years on the Dáil because she won't have to run for election at the end of this Parliament. They're the rules. Now, Tony, you must agree, a friend of yours, a friend of mine, I can call him a friend and a friend of Mary's, one of my local highlights was this.
Oh, Patsy, yeah, Patsy Pearl's book. Sold very well.
Swimming upstream, and it was Patsy Pearl and Deirdre Nuttall swimming one man's fight to save the Atlantic wild salmon, and Patsy was on our programme, but we went to his book launch. It's been a labour of love for Patsy, long years of fighting for what the power station and Ardmacrusher have done to almost the wipeout of wild salmon. But they're making a comeback anyway, thank God, with the help of Patsy and with the help of Europe. Hopefully they'll accelerate that process.
He got a good write-up. Only today I got a copy of it, actually.
Yeah?
He got a good write-up in the Irish Times about the book.
Yeah.
And a few other newspapers as well have given him good coverage for the book.
I'm delighted. Patsy.
And a nice fellow, but it sold very well. I was asking how many copies, actually. Has he any ideas how many of it is sold?
I think he sold 100 plus on the night of the launch. If not more, I think.
They had him back again in O'Mahony's, would you believe? The following Saturday again, sending books. And I was asking him how many he sold, but it's a lovely book, And
it's a lovely book. I'm plowing through it myself with another one as well. But that's Patsy. And tomorrow night, so as we're talking about books, at 10:15, which is 10:15 in normal time, tomorrow night on RT1, there's the Unpussed National Book Awards for Ireland on tomorrow night at 10:15. So it's a program if you're interested in books. To see, I think my old friend see his face in the ad, Donal Ryan, is a terrific author, Donal Ryan, and The Spinning Heart was his debut novel a good 3 years ago now, and it's just they're just fantastic books, That's my opinion. That's all that is.
I never read anything by him now. I wouldn't be one bit interested in him now. The only thing I don't. First of all, I can proudly say I never read a novel for one anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in fiction. I never read fiction, to be honest.
You like historical novels?
I would. I want Irish history is all I'm interested in, and factual things. And you need your sources. I will not accept, and neither will my friend Tom Donovan, accept an article for the Old English Journal without sources. You have to state your sources. And a book should never be printed without an index. It should be something that's made that shouldn't be done. You need an index. Now, the first thing I go to is an index, and it's great to read an index.
Yeah.
But you see where persons are getting their sources from, because in years to come, people will say, "Should he was only making that up?" Whereas if you see a source, you know where you're coming from. You need source.
I 100% agree with you there. One of the highlights of the year, of course, one of the many highlights was the terrific performance of Paul O'Donovan. I think we have a clip there to show him I'll stick it up there now.
For me,
still a bit tired from that one. A little bit tired, yeah. But that's to be expected, I think. But your 7th World Championships title? Oh, something like that. But I think I was dragged along for most of them, to be honest, with other people. So I can't take credit for all of that.
Well, today it's all you. So all credit for you. So how was the race? It was incredible close for the first 500, and then you seemed to take off.
Very close in the first stages, and then the Greek took off. I was like, oh, I better follow him. He's pretty dangerous. And I was seeing like sometimes 139, 140 on the GPS. So I was like, this is a headwind, I'm sure. It feels like, what's he doing? But I had to go with him. And I kind of tracked him down in the end and got a little bit ahead. And I just kept working to avoid the sprint at the finish because I could see USA and Italy were fighting it out and closing down on the two of us. So I was happy to cross the line in the front position.
I think for me that was when he won the world title, and he was rowing on his own. But for me, the guy is extraordinary, and I mean, he's a Corkman, but but I mean, he's won
that phrase pull like a dog.
He's won seven world titles, and he's won 2 Olympic goals.
No, he's won three successive Olympic medals in 3 successive games.
And he's also qualified as a physiotherapist, then a medical doctor, and now he's training to be a surgeon. And it's really an example to everyone that, you know, you hear parents saying, oh, he's got to give up his activities, he's got to give up whatever, dancing, hurling, you name it, in order to concentrate on this exam or that exam. If you really want something hard enough, I think you need that extracurricular activity. You need the sport in your life, and you need the dance, or you need the drama, or you need something outside of education that can keep you sane while you're studying. And he's proof that you can be the academic, you can get the grades, and but you also need that sport or whatever, that hobby on the side to keep you sane. To keep
brothers. Is he brother? There were 2 brothers, isn't there?
There's 2 brothers.
Paul and his brother, but then they split up because he went single sculling, and then he went to the heavy sculls with Fintan McCarthy, got a new partner, and his brother more or less stopped rowing, I think, but I'm not too sure of that. But Tony, the old Limerick Journal, it's out now, I presume, for people who just before I forget it.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's in the shops now.
It sells very well every year.
And is there any article this year from one of our local historians, John?
There is John Ting from Lockor, John Ting.
John Carroll.
He's after coming up to date with the priests of the diocese, and he is occasionally up to. He's already done. I think he did about 3 other journals over the year, 3 articles or 4, and he's come up from scratch 1 up along the whole way to various priests of the diocese now.
Of the diocese, that's the diocese of Limerick City and County.
Yeah, the diocese of Limerick, you know. Yeah. And although, funny enough, people get confused with the diocese. Like, only last night a fella was surprised when I told him that half 6 Mile Bridge is in the diocese of Limerick. He couldn't believe that. And Cracklow is in the diocese of Limerick. Whereas you get an area like Maru, it's in the diocese of Cashel and Embley, and so is Capplemore. Yeah. But you forget about that, where the dioceses are split up. And then you have Castleconnell is in the diocese of Killaloe, which people can't figure out.
Oh, Killaloe, oh yeah, it would be. Yeah. It would be.
People get confused with the dioceses, the way they're split. They think that people think of counties, you say, whereas the diocese have nothing at all got to do with the counties.
No, you know? the same with the baronies.
Oh, it is. The baronies are very confusing altogether. Yeah, but like that, the diocese Limerick should be really the diocese of Mungras. It should have been. This should be the diocese of Mungras, because Mungras is the premier seat of the church. But then the O'Briens were able to swing it for themselves with the Cathedral of St Mary's and get it called the diocese of Limerick.
Money talks, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it talks, always does, and always will. Unfortunately. I was watching a program the other night about what's his name, the painter. I can't think of his name. This is Stein Chapel. What's his name?
Michelangelo.
And about he'd been there at the time. What's his name? Came to Rome. Martin Luther. Just they were selling in the preliminary indulgences. Good or they were. You know, you could buy your way into heaven.
You could buy an indulgence.
Oh, jeez, I tell you, they were right. Now, I thought it was a piece of paper that was given out. You know, probably wasn't even signed by the Pope. You know, probably his assistant did it. And I think that was Julius II, and they were handing out these indulgences. It's a very good program now. And Martin Luther, who was disgusted with the whole thing.
Yeah, that's why he broke away from the church. That's why he broke away from the Catholic Church.
He printed his 99 theses onto the door of the church in Wittenberg. Yeah. I was there actually in Wittenberg, where he put where he nailed them to the door.
Oh, in Wittenberg.
Yeah, in Wittenberg, yeah. But anyway, but the program was very good, and it showed you the way you could buy your way into heaven, by giving out plenary indulgences, So I was told going to school that you had this, you could, you if you said, and that's done away with now. If you said 6 Hail Marys and 6 Our Fathers and 6 Glory be to Fathers, you got someone taken out of purgatory,
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
We were a simple people, and you'd wonder, and people
Uh,
going to churches. But it had to be done on, I think, was it the 2nd of November, not the 1st. 1st is All Saints Day, was 2nd of November is All Souls Day.
Also, that's when you played your
That's the day it had to be done to get an indulgence, to get somebody out of purgatory. But how do we know they were there in the first place in purgatory?
Yeah, well, that's the question you could ask, and then, I suppose, look, in fairness, there's articles of faith that you.
Oh, there is. Oh, there is.
Oh, well, I do that. I do that every year. I fill out the dead list every year, and I mention everyone that I can remember on that day that has died.
She does. I'm a witness.
And I pray. I pray for them. They're prayed for the whole month of November.
Now, Tony.
All my friends, families, my own family.
They might want you to pray from that. They might need it, would they? You could be wasting a prayer, couldn't you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my grandparents were Protestant, but they would have been absolute. My grandmother was, but they would have been. They would have been.
I was told they were going to hell. All them Protestants. I was told that at the school.
They would have all been delighted. My grandmother would have been delighted that she was prayed for in mass.
She mightn't want to know. She might be, if she's a strict Protestant, she wouldn't be delighted.
She wanted to convert to Catholicism, but her father made her promise that she never would.
I wouldn't believe that. No.
She baptized her children Catholic because she had a leaning towards it, but her father made her promise that she never would.
No. She was faithful now.
She remained Methodist.
Methodist or Protestant, you say? There's a big difference between a Methodist and a Protestant.
Well, it's a form of Protestantism.
Well, John Wesley wouldn't agree with you there now. When he came to here and he preached into all this, he called them heathens.
She was Welsh Methodist.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Well, you're listening to the panel here.
Yeah, I see, Pat, where the greyhound racing has been banned in New Zealand.
It has.
Yeah.
And there's moves as well afoot in other countries as well to ban it. Now, it's not. I think that it's not the sport itself that is in trouble. It's the greyhounds when they're finished racing, or if they get injured. And there's a high number of injuries in greyhound racing that people don't appreciate or read about.
It should be banned long ago.
But as well as that, the greyhounds themselves are very, very gentle creatures. Very placid.
Lovely pets,
They're the best. Pet.
Yeah.
I had one, a greyhound, the most docile, Bailey, the most docile dog. All he wanted to do was sleep all day. He'd sleep all day. And if you tried to get him off the bed, he'd slither off the bed. He didn't want to go anywhere. They're dogs.
Now, we're going to take a bit of Irish culture now, lads, and sit back and enjoy two experts. was the wonderful Elijah O'Hare and David Geeney. And of course, there's no more can be said about perfection.
No.
Beautiful.
Well,
And
David Gainey is from Dingle. His father, his family owned the Dingle pub in Dingle and or Danganacoosh. When I interviewed David, they're native Irish speakers, and Alaya is from. David used to go to the Rincori Nariachta, Jimmy Smith, and he's one of many of Jimmy's world champion boys. But David won it the world championships 5 times, and Alaya has won her age group and the girls. She's won it 7 times, and she's from Carol Scanlon or the Scanlon Academy in Birmingham.
And I believe, Mary, she's finished dancing, has she?
She's just given up. She gave up unbeaten.
Yeah.
She's there. But they did that collaboration during COVID.
Yeah.
David got the idea of just putting them. Each of them would learn a part of each other's steps, and then they do this collab. But he's done it with some other magnificent dancers as well. And then he put it all together, mix and matched it together on with the music. The music is extraordinary as well. The music is just everything worked.
Well, the choreography in that now took some sorting out, I must say, as well, But
it had to be all sliced and diced and put together, and there
because for people who don't realise it, they weren't dancing together. David was doing his piece down in Dingle, and Elijah was doing her piece over in Birmingham.
And then
they had to coordinate it all together. Then, the music and the steps.
And she had to learn part of his steps, and he had to learn part of hers, in order to collaborate the whole thing. And it's just a masterpiece. As are
Michael Flatley. Did you meet Michael Flatley?
Well, Michael Flatley has only won 1 world title, and that was he and another. He tied for first. He was the first American to win a world title, but David has won it 5 times, and he's won the All Ireland, and he's won everything. And Alaya has won everything.
And is David still dancing, or is he doing that?
No, he dances in the Dingle pub. If you're down in Danganacoosh, he dances there every night. But
we'll take a day trip now from the panel someday and have a few words with him.
I think he's going to focus on collaborations, from what I know. But a nicer guy you would not come across in Alaya. Lovely kids. I mean, they've dedicated their entire lives to dancing, and 7 nights a week practice.
Yeah. It's a massive commitment now, and it's a healthy thing to be involved in any activity. They've got
extraordinary
like
teachers, it has to be said. The Scanlons and the Jimmy Smith and all at Rincori Nariachta, and all of the dancers that collaborated with David. Their schools are just the best in the world.
Now, we as I said, this is our final program of 2024. We hope to be back again in 2025. The information on the program, emailing, and the phone number is all down there at the bottom. And all these programs can be found on our YouTube channel on YouTube. And press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. If you want to be a regular member or an irregular member, whatever way you want to describe it, of the panel, please let us know. And we'll give you a strenuous 2-hour interview to see of your suitability.
Imagine how Tony got through.
I won't comment. I could comment and I won't.
No, but,
you're only joking, Tony.
We let the fly stick to the wall, long as my mother would say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Christmas is coming anyway.
Well,
after Saturday now, the shortest day of the year. Well, actually, in actual fact, it remains for about 3 days.
Well, and Saturday now, I'll be stuck to the boxing on Saturday. We have a big boxing match coming up on Saturday. I knew you have a new diary, Tony. It's Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. for the
Where
world.
they from?
It's
They're not
on
from
song.
Ireland anywhere, where they
It's
from?
on. Well, Tyson Fury is English. He's English, and
Oh, yeah, but they're of Irish ancestry, of Irish parents.
he is a lot of his cousins are in Ireland as well. Tyson
Aren't they
Fury.
related to the Fury brothers?
No, he's from the traveling community, but he's a fantastic boxer, heavyweight boxer. But then we'll see how that goes Saturday.
I thought he was
It's on
related
Saturday.
to Finbar Fury.
And
No,
where's the fight on?
in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia.
One Saudi here.
Saudi Arabia. Now, we had another gold medal winner as well during the year. Holly Harrington made history not alone for winning gold medal for Ireland, but she's successive gold medals in successive Olympic Games. It was just phenomenal what she achieved. The hardest fight, toughest fight she had during those Olympic Games was the semi-final, which was the other girl fancied for the title. They met in the semi-final, and there was doubts, There's always doubts in boxing, which is unfortunate, whether there'd be a decision go against you, like the time that Michael Conlan was robbed blind in Rio against the Russian. He was robbed. There's other words, were totally robbed in broad daylight of the decision against him. It was unbelievable. So much of a beating did his opponent receive, the Russian, and he got the decision that the Russian had to withdraw from the semi-final, because he couldn't take part in it. And Michael Conlan was robbed of a medal at the Rio Olympics. Another
And
shameful.
who's the fellow the Fury's fighting this week?
He's fighting Alexander Usyk from Ukraine.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there they are now.
He's one of the Matheson's.
She walked above in
She was against Spanish Charles for years.
No, I think she worked in what's the name of that place?
No, she walked now.
I think she was a hostess in Ted's nightclub.
St. Ted's. Where did I tell you this? Where's this fight on?
In Saudi Arabia.
What's Saudi Arabia? Actually, I was talking to a man last week. His son is coming home this weekend from Saudi, right?
Yeah.
He's working on a building site out there, and they're building a new city out there. The father was telling me, and the son was telling him that it's nearly 20 miles long. This city, do you believe it?
I would, yeah, I would.
Yeah, and it's for the future, like, because as he was saying to me, they know the oil is going to be gone. At the rate they're pumping it out, it'll be gone. So they'll have to depend on tourism then. There'll be no more oil. Where they're going to get money then? But they're working on this. I'll be talking to him now next week, this son, when he comes home. But can you imagine the size of the place? It's a massive country. We don't realise how big Saudi is.
No, it's a massive, massive country, and they've put their energy into sports events, and so much so that FIFA have granted them the World Cup of football, soccer, in 2034. The World Cup will be held in Saudi Arabia. By the way, the reports back in case, I know a lot of countries get bad press, and some of them deservedly so because of human rights, and rightly so. We're all well aware of that. There's no need to play the record again. But in Qatar, where the World Cup was held, everybody to a man or a woman that were questioned after that World Cup said it was the safest place they ever attended for any event. You could leave all your valuables, your watch, your wallet, your cards on your bed in your bedroom.
Yeah.
And they'd be in the same place when you came back in Qatar. They said it was just phenomenal.
They weren't allowed to bring any alcohol or anything into the arenas, but Qatar, to me, after England, after Britain, was the best Olympics. England, by far,
World Cup.
By far the best Olympics. The opening ceremony, everything was just absolutely spectacular with GB and Qatar. They did a phenomenal job. I'm so disappointed with the Olympics in Paris. I mean, you know me, Pat. I adore France. But I just think they were trying too hard to prove they could do it in a budget. And I mean, they had the likes of Serena Williams and all of them out in boats, and she nearly fell into the Seine, and only for Nadia Kamenetsky grabbing her. She was gone into the river, into the and Nadia is only about my height.
But the Olympics were very the ceremony, the opening ceremony was shocking in Paris Olympics. It was one of the most anti-Christian openings I ever saw in any Olympics, and I remember them all since 1960.
Yeah.
No, there you go now.
I had no idea what they were planning or what they were thinking. But I'm going to play this now because as a tribute to Kelly Harrington.
She's done it again. Oh my God. Right. Oh, great. Oh, it's on there.
Can I ask all of you to sing one song?
Yay!
Can you sing Grace?
Yes.
Ready? As we gather here,
The chapel here in all.
I think about these past few weeks. Oh, will they say we failed? For our school days they have told us we must yearn for liberty. Now all I want in this dark day is to have you here with me. So great, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. Take me out and I will die. With all my love, I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now I know it's hard for you, my love, to ever understand the love I have for this land, my love for this land. But when Polly called me to his side down in the GPO, I had to leave my own house. To him I had to go. So great to hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out and long I will die. With all my love, I place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye. Now as the dawn is breaking, my heart is breaking too. On this way born, when I walk out.
That was
She's Christian.
Was that-
Kelly Harrington, I never knew she could sing like that.
That was Kelly Harrington's mother and father when they got the
What's that
when
before?
when they found out the minute they found out that Kelly had won. Her mother never watches her. She goes out the back and prays out in the back. The father was watching her, and next when she heard them screaming, the first time she won gold, when she heard them screaming, she knew that Kelly had actually won.
I thought that was her singing.
No, that was her mother.
Would they know who Grace was, I wonder?
Well, I would
You
say,
know the story behind the song?
I'd say they're very nationalist people and very.
I was in their house the first year that Kelly Harrington won the 4 years our gold medal.
Passing.
I was going up to a hurling match, and we went up, And the lad said, Kelly Harrington's house is only over there. So we just on the way up. So we, in the inner city, what's the name of the place? I forget now anyway. It's just off the Gardner Square, it's off that direction. Anyway,
Yeah.
I met her father and I met her mother
Credit
and
to
her
her
sister.
community.
And and all the neighbours were there, and it was just a sea of joy.
She's a good person and a great asset to this country.
A lot of the highlights, of course, this year would be our sporting nature because it being
Sporting
an Olympic year, you know. But we had other highlights internationally as well. We had the complete wipeout almost of the Democratic Party in the United States general presidential election, where the West Hill businessman made it to the White House again. That's Donald J. Trump, a non-drinker, a non-smoker, and he's made it.
A West Clare businessman.
Tell me a president, Tony, that wasn't a womanizer. Tell me. Name one.
Name one of them.
There's a few of them there. Sir, what John F. Kennedy was a good living man.
Clinton
Was a good living man. We
Yeah.
all know about Trump. What he said to do with the women when you get a hold of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure any person who wasn't living in a convent would have, if they were to admit it properly, would admit that kind of banter goes on all the time, you know. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying I agree with the sentiments. I'm just saying it's phrases of living, of the world that we live
long
in.
before he was he ever went to for the presidency. It was said many years. I mean, I think if all of our sins were to be written on our shoulders, or any of us were to be picked up for things that we said.
Well, that to me was the international highlight of the year, because nearly all the media, particularly the left-wing media in America, nearly all the newspapers had Harris ahead by 1 or 2 points, which I found astonishing. Astonishing.
If you were following it on all of the channels, and you were following it as much as I was following it, because I find the American elections very interesting and exciting, and they're razzmatazz, the same as they do everything razzmatazz. And I find it much more exciting, the American elections, than I do the Irish ones.
No.
And I was watching it wall to wall, and I thought, what are they on if they think that it's going to be anything other than a victory? So I wasn't at all surprised. I would have been shocked and horrified if I had been wrong, because
our own general election was a farcical farce. It was a bore fest, one of the most boring general elections I can remember. And I remember the first election I voted in was 1969 general election. But I think the Taoiseach, the outgoing Taoiseach, Harris, put his 2 feet in it with that interchange with the lady in Kanturk, the carer in Kanturk.
Oh yeah.
It demonstrated his inability to communicate properly with what we call ordinary people, and it just showed the deficiency of him.
He got away with it, didn't he? He got away with
it.
it.
He didn't know, because Fine Gael had their worst general election since Michael Noonan led the party. They got the lowest votes since Michael Noonan led the party. If you want to see, they are the 3rd largest now in the Dáil. They have no TD in 10 out of the 41 constituencies. That's Fine Gael. So I mean, they had a disaster of an election, in my opinion. And
I've been out for 5 years on that.
Well, Fianna Fáil have come to the rescue of Fine Gael again in popping them up and bringing them into government. So there you go. Fianna Fáil.
Look at me. Look at me when I was good.
Hold it up.
Before I got my good looks.
There's Tony Browne there.
That photo. That was in the Sunday Press. That was about 1960.
I remember the Sunday Press.
1964 or 65. All my dad's pen photos.
Where's all the hair gone?
I don't know. Went for a birthday, and it's you know. All my band photos, you see, they're all spread out in front of me.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, yes, I found that the other day. Yesterday was my birthday. I didn't hear any of you sending me cards or anything.
Well, I saw nothing on Facebook about it.
What?
I saw nothing on Facebook about your birthday.
Oh, yeah.
You're suffering now. You're suffering from the time when you put down the wrong birthday date and time on your Facebook profile.
Oh, yeah. That doesn't trouble me. I can assure you. I'm a very private person. You see, that's my problem, you know.
So you were born, you were a Christmas baby.
I was what?
You were almost a Christmas baby.
Christmas baby. Oh, yeah. I'm Noel, sure. Anthony Noel. All the Noels are born in December.
All right.
And Anthony.
Anthony.
And, Anthony Browne. And but like that, all the Noels are born in December. I know what the name Noel is usually Christmas.
No, we were going to leave this till the end there. In light of Tony's birthday, we have a Christmas song for him.
Holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round yon virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
That was Dean Martin and Frank
He
Sinatra.
drunk there, I wonder. It's just Dean Martin. He torments me, Dean Martin. Even to look at him.
That was on the Dean Martin show. The Dean Martin show. Well, you should remember the Dean Martin show. You're the same vintage as myself. It's beyond the 60s and early 70s.
Well, he was better when he was with Jerry Lewis. When he was with Jerry Lewis, he was funny. Just when he jacked up Jerry Lewis, then he got involved with the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
And that he kind of changed after that.
Name the Rat Pack for me.
There was 5 of them. Well, there was Frank Sinatra, obviously, and Dean Martin. Peter Lawford.
Yeah.
Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
And Joey Bishop.
Yep, they're the 5. They're the 5.
Yeah. And I'm not looking at Wikipedia either.
No, I don't know. Joey Bishop was. Joey Bishop is off.
I think he was the first to die. Joey Bishop. He kind of.
Yes.
Peter Lawford was married to the girl of the Kennedys.
Shriver.
And
Eunice Shriver.
So yeah, and what's his name? Sammy Davis. And then Sammy Davis wasn't allowed to sing. They wouldn't allow him down the south because till Frank Sinatra said, if he's not going, I'm not going. All over him being black. You see?
No. Frank Sinatra did a lot for Sammy telling the stories.
Frank Sinatra said, if he's not going, I'm not going, and he promoted him then.
They came to book into one of the hotels in Las Vegas, and they wouldn't leave Sammy Davis in the foyer. So Frank Sinatra said, if he's not coming in with us, we're leaving and we're going away. But he had clout and the power to do it. Now, the same story happened with Ella Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald was a wonderful singer, and but she was trying to make the transition from the small clubs into the big ones. And the famous corporate club opened, and her agent went to the manager of the Corp and said, I want to book LA in for a week or 2 weeks, whatever run they were there. And he said, I don't think so. I don't think anybody would come in. And he gave all the excuses. And her friend Marilyn Monroe met the owner of the club and said, you book Ella Fitzgerald and I will be sitting in your club every night in the front row as well to support her.
It's a beautiful voice, Ella Fitzgerald.
And what's her name? Marilyn Monroe became great friends with Ella after that. You know, but Ella was very sad.
The same thing happened. We could talk about these fellas all night. But Chet Atkins tells the story of what's the country singer? Crystal Chandeliers. What's his name?
He died there 2 years ago.
They didn't. He didn't want him in Nashville.
No.
And what's his name? Chet Atkins said they said, could we get someone to go out and sing?
Charlie Pride.
Who?
Charlie Pride.
Charlie Pride. Could somebody go out? Could we get a fella and mime 2 songs? And he said no. Well, the first thing was
they wanted him to stand behind the curtain and leave a fella out front and voice.
Sing behind. So the first thing was at the meeting of RCA Records, Sir Atkins played a tape of him, and they all said book him. And he said, grand, and get him signed up and and Sir Atkins said, there's only one problem. What's the problem? Money, they thought, you see. No, said Sir Atkins, he's black. He said it was silence.
And Jack Atkins was an A&R man for
silence at the table, he said, when he said he was black. Because you'd never think he was black to listen to Charlie Pride singing.
A fabulous singer. He played Ireland often. Beautiful voice. He's a lovely singer, you know.
Lovely voice, you know.
Is anybody going to San Antonio? Phoenix, Arizona.
Anyone going to Valente? Yeah,
a lovely singer. Gone now. There's a lot of people have and God rest my neighbour who passed away there a couple of days ago, you know. One year after Christmas. A good friend of mine, I worked with him many years ago, and he went
There's a thing they show at the end of the year in Hollywood. I don't know what program it is on, and they show you all the actors that have died.
Yes.
During the past year.
Yes.
You fellas up there and you forget.
You would.
They're never around that have died, you know.
You would, yeah.
See coming up, it says, I remember him and I remember her, you know, coming up on the screen when you see all the names and the faces of all the stars that have died. It's amazing.
So now, Christmas Day now, will you be at your daughter's house, or your own house? And will you be watching a film on Christmas Day?
We'll be watching King Charles, and he make a big speech. His mother used to give it. We used to stop our dinner every year for the Queen's speech and sit down and listen to her.
You'll be listening to the King's speech, will you?
I'll be listening to Charles and to hear what he has to say about the passing year and Mama, and to find out. You know, we lovely. Like when you create when you've silence for about 5 minutes, you know, and you listen to him talking. You know.
Did you see the funeral?
Whose funeral? He's not dead.
The Queen's.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Well, it's our piece of it you had to kind of watch on the news, you know, to come on, you know. The best thing about the Queen's funeral was the playing of Handel's, was that music. We call it the Dead March.
Handel's Messiah.
No, the Dead March. I know the one you're talking about. It's a beautiful piece of music.
It's oh God, I can't name it now this minute, but it's played for funerals. He wrote that for Handel wrote that for what was his name? Just I really say Charles I. The other fella, who were the Georges? You know, was it George III? He wrote that for.
Yeah.
That piece, the boom, boom. Oh, it's a lovely piece of music. But they played it at the Queen's funeral. You know,
I mean, say what you like. She ran everything. Never a scandal attached to the woman. She ran everything. You know, she was in every one of our lives at some stage. Do you know from when we were children? I mean, she was 70 years on the throne. So everyone that's here in this room grew up with her at some stage.
Well, she became queen the year I was born. So there you go.
She wouldn't give up. Put old Charles as med for the seat, and she wouldn't give it to him.
Only she was born to rule. I mean, she was never destined. Had her uncle Edward not abdicated, she was never destined to be queen. But when you look at
it, she could have given it to Margaret. She didn't have to take it.
She was utterly. Her whole life was dictated by
civil servants.
And you know, I suppose we'll say that. That was a milestone this year. This year she died, was it?
No, she died 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? I forget. Now,
Christy Hennessy. I'm a messenger boy, singing my love for you.
We have the formation of our government here in Ireland. They hope to have it done by the 22nd, but they were trying to get it done by the 20th, which is the inauguration of the next US president in the 20th of January after Christmas. So I don't know how that will pan out. Maybe they will have an agreement. I see the Healy Rays now are looking for to have an active role in government as well. Whatever they mean by that, I don't know. I think we have enough of that kind of carry on in the all anyway. With all due respect to them. So, what do you do? What do you?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's a greater tribute to. We all know her and we all love her dearly.
Who's
Here
we?
because
I mind. Who's this?
you
Who?
love her dearly, Una Walsh. You
Who?
do, and she knows that. But I mean, Una was
So,
my friend all the way through Bunratty,
Have you been music ready?
and I'm getting it's actually going over now onto the system. So
and more
just
a swing of her hips, she started to strip.
Listen,
Tremendous applause.
you want Patricia the stripper?
so
What?
we're going to end with a piece that she wrote herself about Ireland, and she's from uh,
The smallest county in Ireland, County Loud,
County Louth, and she's
Castle Bellingham.
every time when she was home in Ireland, she wrote this song about County Louth and Castle Bellingham, where she's from, and it's called "Going Home," and it's the glorious voice of Una Walsh over there
Happy Christmas, everyone,
in the UK.
and enjoy your turkey and
Christmas,
ham.
Happy Christmas and New Year.
Shadows fall on an open door. Smiling faces welcome me home. It has been so long. Life has been so cruel. I'm going home to the fields of my youth, to the places I remember, colors of autumn hue. I'm going home. I'm going home, where the memories dance in the morning sun. Life goes on. Lane to the old farm is overgrown. Slates are fallen from the roof, and the rain is coming down against a harvest moon. I'm going home. I'm going home, where the memories dance in the morning sun. Life goes on. Time will take its toll. One day you go, and the best I can hope for is a memory to linger. And if I
This is Rare Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.